Welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? As you see by the title, it's probably gonna grab a lot of attention. But before I slightly get into it, because I was excited when Trump announced, "Oh, I'm gonna release the files for RFK, JFK, MLK," right? Because even as a kid, I I always loved a good mystery, right? Like some people call it conspiracy theory, whatever. But I just like a good mystery. I like the who, what, where, when, and why. That kind of always like to do that. That's kind of like my thing because I like to see how things work and things of that nature. Answer things that that could be questionable. So my whole thing was, like the RFK situation. Was it a Manchurian candidate? They even made a movie about it. I'm like, ooh, like we finally get to maybe find out. Cool, right? And JFK, just countless of videos out, countless videos, documentaries. There's probably some. I don't even think there's anything not covered from one side or the other. But just to have that piece of the puzzle, that's exciting within itself. But I will be honest. I always kind of thought the deletion of Martin Luther King was cut and dry. I mean, I heard a little inklings here and there, but I didn't pay it no mind. Like, like I didn't really take stock in it. I just figured it was cut and dry. So I said, you know what? Since they're releasing these files, I won't understand why there's files and this, that, and the whole bit. So I said, let me do some research. Let me look into. So I cruising the YouTube streets, if you will, and I found out a whole bunch of other stuff. I know it's when I was listening, like my boy, he texted me today. He's like, "Yo, you seem a little pensive lately than usual," because I'm always in thought. I guess I'm always, if you will, the hamster's always running in my head, like because I'm always thinking of something, whatever the case may be. But I think what kind of got me that way a little bit was I guess the best way to word it of what I'm discovering, and I'm still on the journey, so it's not a complete journey, is that kind of that never meet your heroes kind of thing. Like even though I obviously never met them, but it's kind of like, because civil rights is, I mean, obviously, if you're looking at the screen, obviously, would be invested in civil rights just in general. But that's probably a whole separate video. But then I actually started looking at the deletion itself. Like, let's look at the crime, right? And the least to say, I was blown away. And that's probably what really got me and what has been getting me lately. The whole, I guess, feel like we all are being lied to, like on the level of, because I said it in a video before, people take our emotional, the things we believe in emotionally and causes that we get behind, and people either try to monetize it, take advantage of it, things of that nature, right? And Well, let's get into what I learned with the assassination, because this is more for me new information, and that's probably why I'm sharing it, and that's probably why I'm doing this video, right? So with Martin Luther King, and this can be related to JFK, because it seemed like through the research I've been going through, there's a lot of similes, a lot of more than meets the eye, for one, and two, a lot of the same players are involved with a lot of stuff, right? So, they say, the official story is James R. Ray deleted MLK, right? A lot of three initials for everybody's name back then. It's kind of weird, but okay. But the official story is he's the one that deleted Martin Luther King. Went to Canada, and they caught him in London or something crazy like that, right? And of course, that's obviously a short version. It's not like a super duper expert, but that's the short version of it. But as I'm watching countless documentaries and I'm reading countless things, there was things that stuck out between JFK and MLK. One of the things that stuck out, right, that that these guys were lone gunmen, right, and they used sniper rifles, right. So, as somebody who has experience in the military, and not saying that I went to sniper school, because like wasn't a super duper military guy, like I wasn't one of those SEAL Team 6. I wasn't one of those guys, right? But I knew what the training entailed, and in those sniper schools, even the best snipers always had a spotter. And pretty much, for those who don't know, that's pretty much somebody who they have either binoculars or some type of magnifier, if you will, and they'll say, okay, down 200 degrees more to the right. They always had somebody in contact. So, because when you shoot, you got your heartbeats and all that stuff, right? So these guys were lone people that used sniper rifles but never had a spotter, right? So that's the one thing that was the one question I have, and there's no real answer because I don't have the answer, but that was just a thought. Another thought was, well, like I said, I was more watching MLK because I wanted to make sense when I read these files or hear about these files. The James R. Ray, he escaped from prison. And I said to myself, Self, if you escape from prison, you want to maintain a low profile, right? You won't want to put yourself out there. And, I might have people in the comment section like, but you don't understand or whatever. But I look at trends. So the trend across the board is nobody ever really answered that question to my satisfaction, as far as why would he target a high value target? That's what we call it in the military. Why would you go after a high end target which will bring a bunch of attention to you when you escape from prison and you need to keep a low profile? That didn't make sense to me. It really didn't. And then they said he escaped in a white Mustang. I don't want to mess this up because I'm just off the cuff, off the script, if you will. Tennessee. You're in Tennessee with a 1968 white Mustang. Now that would stick out in 2025. That would stick out like a sore thumb. Like pretty much any classic cars, and I'm into cars a little bit on the level of aesthetics and all that. You know, my stepfather's more the mechanical side of the house, but even in 1968, that car would stand out, and it drove across numerous states to get to Canada because he drove to Canada. So obviously, you had to go through multiple states. So a 68 white Mustang will probably stick out like a sore thumb, if you will. Two left shoes. It just would stick out. Because, you know, there was a time lapse of when it happened to when they caught him. So you mean to tell me there was a white Mustang driving and nobody saw this white Mustang? Okay. Well, and then, you know, that was one of the biggest. Those are the things. Those 3 points, if you will. Those kept playing over and over and over again as I'm thinking through this all. Like, this don't make no sense at all. Right? And then, now I know this particular source, people will be polarized about it one way or the other. That, you know, when they had the article in the Post and I read it, right? I initially was going to do a short, but I was like, nah. You know, I did a video how I choose my shorts sometimes. I was like, nah, we're not doing that. But I read the article. And, well, the most popular conspiracy theory was JFK was assassinated through the mob, right? The Don from New Orleans. I don't remember his name right this second. And me being in mob history, I should know all this stuff off the top of my head. But nevertheless, so, you know, that's the most popular theory. And, like, oh, that's the other thing. The lawyer for James Earl Ray, his first lawyer, I want to say his first lawyer, not his second lawyer, because he had 2. But the first lawyer, one of the lawyers, I don't remember which one it was. However, he's the same lawyer that Jack Ruby had. So, what are the chances of that? You know, like, so when I read the section of MLK, right? Because I heard other podcasters say this, like that communism and the civil rights movement are highly linked, right? And so I kind of was already trying to explore that, see the similarities, see the differences, and trying to figure it out, what's right, what's wrong, who's right, who's wrong, for my own opinion, if you will, because I always believe in having my own opinion and not necessarily, if it's a point of view I share with somebody else, I want it to be because I came to my own conclusion and not because just somebody told me and I'm just gonna go along to get along kind of thing. But they said in the article that MLK allegedly, because if this makes it to the King family, I don't know. I don't want to say anything that's not true or whatever the case may be. So allegedly, according to the New York Post, they were saying you had people that were communists that infiltrated the civil rights movement, infiltrate his movement as far as his inner circle. And they also said he was engaged in, I'll keep it light, but let's say sexual deviancy beyond the cheating that people have been putting out there or whatever, because not for nothing people put it out there I don't know if it's true. They don't even know if it's true, but we'll go with that for, let's just say, we're talking about Diddy territory here, right? And like, this is a hard subject for me. It really is, because I do believe in civil rights on the level that everybody's a human being and they have the right to be treated fairly, if you will, on the human being level. But some of the stuff that these guys were saying, if you translate it to 2025, it's pretty disheartening. It really is. And I don't know how to navigate it. This is the best way I can probably talk about it, is I don't know how to navigate this whole thing, how I feel, who's right, who's wrong, who's right, who's left, who's up or down. And I think people that have the same thought process as myself, I think that when you do the research on these things, you will find yourself feeling how I do, because I don't know. It's one of those times I just don't know. Honestly, I want the YouTube community to talk to me. Like I want to hear your thoughts on it. Like there's just more. I'm just presenting a case, if you will. Like, my excitement turned to disappointment. Like I stated earlier, it was kind of like I'm going through a thing now, like kind of like never meet your heroes feeling. That's the best associative feeling I can make it make sense for somebody to understand. Because if everything they're saying about civil rights and communism and all of that kind of stuff is true, let's just say everything these people are saying is true, what does that mean? Like, a lot of things were destroyed. A lot of businesses were lost. Like, you look at the things that people stand on, that people say, like, oh, we had Black Wall Street. When you start looking, deep diving how I'm really doing it, it's like you're not looking at Black Wall Street the same way. You're not looking at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because the outcomes of 2025, and I noticed too the shift of a lot of other cultures are trying to follow Black culture, and I don't know. I'll be straight up and down. I just don't know. People that know me, they always say I talk too much. This is one of those times I really don't have nothing to say. But I wanted to do a video about this because, like I said, it's something, even as a young man, a young kid, I was always interested in it. Like I said, I'm always up for a good mystery. But who knows? Maybe I'll get my answer. Somebody jump in the comment section or something like that. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll probably have to do a follow-up video, probably do a little more research and maybe be in a different headspace. But I just wanted to give my initial thoughts on that. Thank you for your time.